All right, guys, got the back tank off. You know, you got a tank on the back and then one up in the front. Let me tell you, one back here was freaking awesome because the frame rails are like 32.25 inches wide on the inside, maybe. I'm just pulling numbers out of my butt. But the tank itself was like 32 3/8 inches wide, so I had to like finagle it finagle the tank out just to get it out from between the frame rails and trying to balance it because it's still got a couple gallons of gas in it. So anyway, I saw the cause of the issues I was having yesterday. Coming back from town, it acted like it was running out of gas. So I stopped and put a couple gallons in because I wanted to run it. The plan was to run it down to as low as possible before swapping all this out. And it acted like it was out of gas, so the gauge said a quarter tank, so I thought, well, that should be fine. But so I put a couple gallons in just to get me home, and just kept on dying. So I swapped a fuel filter in the Chick-fil-A parking lot last night, which is pretty awesome. Got one more thing off my bucket list. And then drove it home. Went to drive it again this morning. Got about 2 miles, did the same thing. So I had to swap another fuel filter in the AutoZone parking lot. And the AutoZone filters, let me tell you, those things suck. Because they painted them so the lines won't go on. And then so I had to go back in and buy sandpaper to get the lines onto the filter. And then them little clips that they give you are shit. They wouldn't work. So I ended up having Vincent come and get me, take me to O'Reilly's to get another filter just so I could have one that the clips would work. And then it got me home. So that looks like material from the sock and maybe some dirt. My intention was to swap this, which is like a 100-liter per hour pump, for one of these, so like 190. But this all comes in this housing. I had to break it to get it apart. And this pump is a lot bigger than the factory one. So my only option is to get another. I'm getting pumps for a Lightning because they're the same as what comes on F-150. So I don't get why they're doing that. But it's my only option. So I'm gonna go with that. I can change the tune. I changed injector firing duration, so I ain't gonna worry about it running lean because the pump's too small. I can just compensate for the with the injector timing. So that's that. That plan is not happening. Tank itself doesn't look terrible on the inside. There's a lot of water in there. Looks like you can tell, kind of milky. But the tank itself looks good, so I ain't got to buy a new one of them. This has got a split in it, so I'll have to figure out where to get one of them, or else get it just bulk hose that long. So that's it. That's where we're at right now. Still got to try to get the other tank off and see what else. Oh yeah, I put the new shocks on the other day. The back and the rear hangers, spring hangers, are supposed to lower it like 3/4 inch. They weren't terrible. Get down in here without busting my ass. I'll show you what those look like. That up here. Not too terrible. This got a heavy spring pegs on them though. It's got the extra spring is up on the top. There we go. So, and let's see. I thought it was maybe on the front, but yeah, it's pretty heavy spring package for a heavy half ton. It might be what they call a heavy half. I don't know, but maybe we'll do that axle flip or whatever, where you put the axle up on top of the spring and then put a notch in the frame just just so you can have clearance, because right now you only got like 4.5, 5 inches clearance between the rear end and the shock, or the overload bumper. There's a big old fat Monroe's. So I got to get that guy out and see what size that tank is, because it's got a 17-gallon tank for the center or a 19-gallon one, and they both take a different fuel pump. So I have to figure out what size this is before I can order the pump for that one, because this one don't work at all. The one in the back worked a little bit. All right, I'll catch you in the next one, fellas. I got a box here. I opened it up already. You didn't need to see me open a box. Just remember to cut away from you. And if you're cutting something else, if you're not cutting a box, it's down the road, not across the street. Just keep that in mind. A couple goodies I got. This is for the engine that's going to go into the red car. Driving a daily around with a 347 is nice, but it can't really take it to the track without having my sphincter clenched up. It's going to blow the guts out of that T5. So I've got the Cobra engine over here. That'll probably go in there with the ported heads, the Explorer heads with the 1.9 valves and all that stuff in it. Originally that was going to go into the Capri, but just decided to go ahead and put the 331 in the Capri off the jump. The car is going to be heavy. It's, so it's not going to be super fast. It should be in the 6s, I would hope. But Vincent hasn't been to the track in a long time, even longer than me. So we'll probably start him out in something else, or dial the tune back pretty good, let him go up that way, just to kind of get him some seat time before turn him loose. And then I can run the stock short block 302 in the red car without having to worry about scattering the T5 all over. If I break it because of my buffoonery, missing shifts or whatever, that's one thing I'm willing to do. But in my experience, having just that T5 in the LTD where it was going in a straight line and just getting towards the top of third and let go. So I'm just going to put a 302 back in it and then try to enjoy it that way. So what I do, just my thing, I put a high pressure pump, the M68A, and then an ARP heavy duty oil pump drive shaft. That's for the red car. These are for the red car too, just to make sure I got spares after that debacle the last time I was at the track. And then finally, this is for the pickup. 410 gears. I said I wasn't gonna, but after kind of driving it and seeing what a turd it is with that 355s, I just said I remembered how the Les Camino, the L Sport Track, it had 410s and it had a tall tire like this, and it was fine on interstate. It run 2,500 at 75 or 80, maybe close to 3. But it was happier, I should say, than kind of lugging with a 355. And this thing now, it's from a standing start, you mat it, just punch it, and it'll squeak the tire. So I've got a 31 spline Positrack on order. I found them on eBay for $150 for a brand new one. It's got the Ford Motorsports part number. Summit sells them for $3 something, and they're on eBay for $150. So kind of taking a little bit of a fly here, see how it works out. It kind of beats going to the junkyard and laying in the dirt and grease trying to get one out of there and then rebuilding it. So we're gonna do that, and then put the 410s in at the same time. I watched a video last night. Eric, the car guy, he's pretty detailed, and clearly he knows what he's doing, unlike me. I don't. I've never done gears before, so this is going to be a first time. But I still have to get the bearings and the shims and all that stuff yet too. So it might be a little bit before I actually do the rear end swap. I'm going to My intention right now is just to get the fuel pumps and fuel tanks back on. Pumps are coming in Tuesday. Today's Saturday, so I still got to wait a couple days. And it's been raining the last couple days anyway. So that's planned. I have ordered also. I'm spending way more money on this thing than I ever thought I would. Instead of putting a shift kit in, there's a guy called, can't remember his name now. But he's got a website called Punisher Valve Bodies. It's just, you get a whole new valve body, and it's all set up, all ready to go. All you got to do is drop the pan, take the filter off, put this new one on, put a new filter, new fluid, and off you go. So it's minimal fuss. You ain't got to mess with them little springs and ball bearings and all that stuff, where all that stuff goes. So seemed like the way to go. We had a lot of good reviews on like the Bronco and some F-150 and Lightning forums. So I just went ahead. It's $300. Like I said, more shift kits were $100 to $150, and I was like, man. But sometimes to me it's just worth a little bit extra money to just to kind of have that way. Ideally, I wouldn't want to be messing with automatics. I'd have a 5-speed in there, but I just the way it worked out. So that's it. Like I said, got both fuel tanks off the F-150, the Nitening, and as you can see in here, I'm kind of tinkering with the engines, trying to get stuff cleaned up, get stuff out of the way so I can get the. I've got a set of Explorer heads down here from Eric that I've got to take them apart and get them ported, get them back to him so he can put them on his LTD to get his LTD going. And I told him I'd have them done in December. So I'm going to be a little behind. Obviously, I was going to start last week, but then I ended up buying those transmissions and engines, and that put me a little behind. And of course, he bought a 306 over there with some kind of aftermarket aluminum head, so he might not even mess with these heads. So we'll see what he's going to do. But at least I'll keep up my end of the deal. I think we made a trade. Is he had bought a car, a Mustang, and he got 8.8 out of it and some other stuff, and he gave me that, and I'm going to do the heads for him. So that's where it's at. And to start it out, I've got couple other videos from the Lightning. I'll post all that stuff together and then put it up on the interwebs. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. Have a safe, happy New Year. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you next year. All right, fellas, had to do a quick addendum here. These are the fuel pumps for the truck. This is the side fuel pump for the tank over there on the right, the gray one. This is a 20 gallon per hour. And then this is the one that was in it. It is a 20 gallon per hour also. The Lightning one is going to replace the one here in the back. It's a 24 gallon per hour, but they've got the connector here, the way they fuel lines come in. They're not like splayed out, they're more like closer to each other, so I won't have to cut the lines or anything like that. That was the initial thing about putting a Lightning one in there, was not having to modify the fuel lines. And yeah, this is the backflow preventer. Just gotta make sure to put those on. And I also replaced that tank. Initially I thought it was good, but then when I got to looking at it, there's a bunch of stuff on the inside, bunch of white powdery stuff. I didn't want to take your chance, so I just went ahead and got a new one. It wasn't that expensive. They were like 95 or 100 bucks at O'Reilly's. A little cheaper at Rock Auto, but then I had to pay shipping and blah blah blah. So I just went ahead and got her at Rock Auto. O'Reilly's to get a 5% discount for being a military. So it kind of worked out. And also, this is a new pan for the transmission. Apparently there's been an issue with the older E4ODs where they have to get clips, aftermarket clips, to hold the transmission filter in place because it'll fall off. But the later model pans, the 96 and up, have little pads cast into the pan that hold it up so it don't fall off. I never knew about any of this stuff until I started messing with this thing. So that's where it's at. That one's going back in. This one's getting replaced. I've already got the new tank that's inside the truck. I just don't want to put it back here. And I didn't want to have it in the garage because I've already got enough junk in there. So, oh, I don't remember if I told you. Yeah, the sort of lightning pump is 24 gallon per hour, which still isn't like huge. It's only like 92 or 93 liters per hour, which isn't much bigger than the factory one on a Mustang. But that's what we got, so that's what we're going to go with. Hopefully, like I said, I can work the tune too. I can change the injector timing. I don't know if this works out or not, but that's what we got to do. We got to try it out. So, again, appreciate y'all, and we'll get this wrapped up and put on the interwebs. All right, catch you next year. Bye-bye.